is Dexy's Midnight Runners with Gino, and this is Communities Live on Sheffield Live Radio 93.2 FM with
Andrew Tildersley
and Susie Casson, and we're joined in the studio by Bally from the Thrifty Store.
Hello.
Welcome. So, what is the Thrifty Store?
Well, Thrifty Store, I suppose if I'm going to give you a quick, well, it's not quick because it kind of goes back to my childhood. I've always been into second-hand clothing, shopping in charity shops, etc., etc. But I just find that nowadays it's coined as vintage, which kind of commands a premium price. So I wanted to go back to the old days of providing second-hand affordable clothing. That people pick through and take the best wares that they can find. I mean, it's huge. We've got about 20 tons of clothing in the old post office in Casson-Yardley, so it's pretty awe-inspiring when you go in there. It's there's a hell of a lot to choose from, which is quite exciting to the kind of diggers, I call them.
Wow. So where is the Thrifty Store?
So yeah, it's in the old Castle House building. It's an infamous co-op building next to Primark, stooped in history. It's got a listed staircase in there, which is quite famous. Quite a few people still come in and go, "Come and look at the staircase. Come and look at the staircase." Like, yeah, it's over here, but it's all covered up. But yeah, it's an amazing building, and some very exciting things are happening in the very near future.
Great. So we just go, as we were going into the old co-op, the same entrance and everything?
Yeah, I mean, at the moment there's a number of entrances, those that know. I mean, we're on Angel Street, so it's where apparently there used to be a travel agents there, where Castlegate, where there's a market in between Primark and Castle House, the building. So that's the entrance at the moment, but there's scope to go into the main entrance, which is on Cashel Street, which comes in at the ground floor, because it's a pretty immense building. And that's quite an exciting project coming in the future, but I'm sure we're going to talk about that. So.
Yeah, sounds interesting. So it's just a mass of clothes when you walk in?
Absolutely. I mean, people come into, because of the travel agent bit, it's quite deceiving, because you go into the front bit and people are like, oh, wow, there's quite a lot here. I mean, for your average sort of vintage shop, it's probably 2 or 3 times the size of that. But when you actually, if you know that building, you go up the runway, up the ramp, into the back post office bit. If anybody's been there, it's a fair few thousand feet, and it's literally it's adorned with clothes, furniture, records, everything really. We sell everything.
So you might find some treasures there, something quite old.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, a lot of our reviews on Thrifty Store Sheffield on our Facebook page, we've had nothing but 5-star reviews of people enjoying what they've found, from records to furniture to clothing to, because we stock everything from branded stuff as well, Levi's, Ralph Lauren, Tommy Hilfiger, pretty much everything, Lacoste, but there is so much, and it is really, you need a good couple of hours in there to enjoy it and really find the stuff that you want. We've got changing rooms, so it's kind of, in respect to what we do, it's real idea of recycling, in terms of everything we use is within the building, so we don't buy anything new. It's pretty environmentally friendly, shall we say.
And have you developed a sort of fan base? Are there diggers that you're seeing coming back again and again, spending hours in there?
It's great, because what we've created down there is, it's the other end of town, so it's a side of town that needs regeneration, and that's something that we'll talk about in a bit, but. It has created its own following, because our demographic is everybody from the local Sheffield old dear from about 60, 70 years old with a blue rinse, to your young students, looking for that garment that kind of makes them stand out as an individual and puts their own twist and style on things. So yeah, it has created its own following. Definitely.
And is that any of that unveiled, people posting pictures on your Facebook of this is me wearing the...
Yeah, on our Instagram, there's definitely a lot of that goes on, and there's a lot of hashtagging. It's all New World talk, isn't it? Hashtagging, tagging.
Absolutely,
and, I used to walk down the street and somebody put a camera in your face, hey, you look cool, and take a photograph of you, and that was it. But now it's, you don't even know that you're out there sometimes. Sometimes somebody's tagged you and you're like, oh my God, I'm there. But yeah, there's a lot of that goes on, and we get a lot of those feeds coming into our Instagram, which is great.
Yeah, and as you say, it's bang on trend, all the idea of recycling and second-hand and vintage. How did you get involved with it in the first place?
Like I said, I've always been into it as a kid, and without getting my violins out, we were a working class family, and you used to see kids go to school, and they'd have clothing that you go, oh, I really want to buy some expensive clothing, but style isn't about expense, it's about how you wear it. And for me, that's what vintage is about. It's about finding those items that maybe somebody else wouldn't wear and making them fashionable, and it's, we kind of say, our real ethos is around sort of, I'd say 70s upwards. That's our clothing. It's not sort of cupcakes and tea vintage. It's it's sort of modern day 70s, 80s, 90s. I mean, it's a truth that we have to face when you get to 42, my age. That we are actually vintage now. We grew up in the 80s, and I've embraced that. And some people are still trying to embrace that. So get over it, people. We are vintage.
I remember somebody 10 years ago telling me, "Oh, I've got this vintage thing. I bought this vintage thing from the 80s." And I thought, there's still things in my wardrobe that I got in the 80s.
Yeah, you need to give these, but 80s and 90s is on trend right now, so it's great. So we're current, is what I'd say.
Absolutely, yes. So you've got a couple of exciting events coming up. There's something on Saturday.
No, absolutely we have. We've got on Saturday we've got a kilo sale, which is basically you basically buy by the weight. So a kilo is £15, which is pretty. You can get a lot of clothing for that, and that's at the Dina venue, just down the side of John Lewis, which is going to be good. We've got DJ on there, so it's it's going to be exciting. It's a place where you just rummage and fill your bags really, and get off with bag loads of really cheap clothing and happy smiling faces, which is what we're there to encourage.
Yeah. So when you buy by the kilo, is there a way of checking how much you've spent, as it were?
Yeah, I mean, it's multiples off, so it's minimum is a kilo. So what happens is you can, you buy it by a kilo, we weigh it, and you literally you pay in multiples of that kilo. So if it's 1.5 kilos, it would be £20. 25, is that right? No, 20.
Don't ask me to do maths.
Yeah, maths is not good. But so it's multiples of. So 2 kilos would be 30 quid. That's an easy one.
Yeah,
I'll stick to that.
Yeah.
Great, good idea. And you've got the first makers market.
Yeah, this is something that we're really passionate about. I mean, the guys that are developing the building, North Point Development, a Manchester-based firm, are really, really, they go against the grain in terms of developers and people's perception of, property developers. They're all there to make money and rape the city and, that kind of thing. They're actually very supportive. They've got some really, really exciting projects, of which the makers market is something that we're keen to progress, which is about supporting your cottage industries within Sheffield. There's a lot of people out there that want to make a living from their passion. And the first one takes place on 27th and 28th of February within our space. And we've been inundated, and it just shows the appetite for it. It's really exciting. We've got some fantastic little clothing labels that are just coming out of the woodwork. We've got some really, really good artwork. We've got a couple of really interesting social enterprise initiatives. I mean, I'll mention one, which is Hand2 Collective, which is working with unemployed people to help them to create things and providing workshops. And they do Learn, Create, Sell, which is quite a good workshop that they do. So there's a charity called Watermaid as well, which basically sells African shirts, etc., to provide clean water for Africa. So there's a feel-good factor, and I think Sheffield's synonymous with that kind of social enterprise. I think we spoke about it before, Sue, briefly, and it's for me, there's a real maker movement in not just in Sheffield but across Yorkshire, across the UK, really. It's something that I'm keen to support. And actually, Sheffield is the Year of the Maker in Sheffield this year, which I was brought to attention by the Telegraph. They told me, and I went, "Oh my God, how surprising is that?" But yeah, it's good. The other one, you don't mind me going on. The other thing that North Point are developing is the tech hub on the top 2 floors of the co-op building. So that building, which was sat there for years and really sort of, in disrepair and is coming back to life, and it's really bizarre that it's coming back to life in a real sort of cooperative way, because it's a collective of makers. And then obviously there's the tech hub which is going on. So those that don't know what a tech hub is, it's a digital working environment that enables people to work together. But the interesting thing with what we're doing with North Point is to make that physical makers market sort of combine with the digital world. So what was probably a symbiotic relationship is now going to become a little bit more real, because we're actually going to gel those two worlds together and help support in that. So it's very, very exciting, very, very exciting.
Yeah, and it's great to hear the developers being supportive, because what's happening in that part of town now the market's gone?
That's the question, you know, and this is it. You know, I think, you know, we're working with Renew as well from Sheffield. They're being supportive. So Sheffield City Council are aware of these areas that need work, and I think, you know, there is that. For me, it's that community. It's working with the developers, working with the council, and regenerating this space. I mean, you know, you've got the arts institution that's opening, which is rehousing the old post office building down there on Fitzwilliam Square. So yeah, and that's pretty exciting, because that whole area, I really feel there's going to be a real creative hub down there, and really sort of exciting for not only people that want to make and want to create, you know, but also, you know, the education system down there. It's all falling together nicely, and what we're doing kind of supports in that. So it's exciting.
Wonderful. So how can people find out more about the Thrifty Store?
Yeah, I mean, if you join our Facebook page, it's just search Thrifty Store Sheffield. We're on there, and you know the events listed on there. That it's got a list of the exhibitors on it. I mean, believe there's 25 confirmed at the moment, but there's a few loitering in the background that are still to come in, and it's going to be quite an exciting event because we've got DJs, we've got music. But yeah, it's fun to breathe life back down into that area of the city, really, and you know. To be honest, it's about how the community support that, you know, and that's why we're here, you know, to kind of call out to people to say, come and support your local makers and see what they've got, you know.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Yeah, wonderful. Sounds like a real treasure trove.
It is.
Yeah, yeah, lovely.
Well, thanks for coming in.
No, thanks for having me, Sue, Andrew. It's been great. Cheers.
Yeah, great. So we talked about the 80s, so we're going to go to Blondie with Atomic.